This is the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.Live, where we offer the entertainment, sports, weather, traffic, news, and information that commercial drivers want to hear. I'm your host, Shelley Johnson. Are you in the mood for blues and jazz that bring you up and offer you hope? Louise Cappi is releasing a new album called Hope. This album is just what the doctor ordered. Louise has the vibe and a fantastic voice that is the ultimate in blues and jazz. Louise is an internationally acclaimed New Orleans-based singer-songwriter, recording artist, and entertainer. She's the daughter of the late great New York jazz guitarist Al Cappi. Louise and her band pack the house on the weekends at her weekly residency at Mahogany Jazz Hall in New Orleans. She's also been a regular performer on the New York City music scene. Cappi has received global rave reviews of her music. Powerful, explosive, humorous, and soul-stirring is the only way to describe her music and her live performances. She has a music genre all her own that is par excellence. Welcome, Louise. Thank you for being on the show today. If you wouldn't mind, Louise, tell us about your new album.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. It was a labor of love. I wrote it during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I was sitting on my couch for 3 months watching the news and all the crazy stuff going on. And I just, you know, I just felt moved to respond to it with something positive.
We need that.
Yeah. Oh, I needed it. And I figured if I do, everybody else does. And I figured, I just started asking myself questions. You know, I prior to COVID, I was a chaplain at Toro Hospital here in New Orleans. When we would go in to see a patient, one of the protocols we followed was to ask that patient what gives them hope. You know, what gives them hope when they get out of the hospital. Some people were in oncology. Some were sicker than others. But we asked that question. Some said to see my grandkids, my husband, and that gave them the will to leave. So that's where hope came from, the song. And I just asked myself, what gives me hope? And just started to answer that question.
Hope is a song in the night. Hope guides you from the darkness to the light. Fills the heart that longs to be whole. Hope is the anchor of the fear-driven soul. What is hope? It's the strength in your veins. It gives you the courage to try again. What is hope? It's the steel in your spine. It takes you to the finish line. Hope is the antidote. Hope has the power to set the prisoner free. It holds in its pocket the master key. Hope reaches out a helping hand. Hope is the road to the promised land. What is hope?
What is hope?
It's the strength in your veins. It gives you the courage to try again. What is hope? to the finish line. Hope is the antidote. What is hope?
What is hope?
It's the strength in your veins. It gives you the courage to try again. What is hope?
What is hope?
It's the steel in your spine. It takes you to the finish line. Hope is the antidote. What is hope?
What is hope?
It's the strength in your veins. It gives you the courage to try again. What is hope?
What is hope?
It's the steel in your spine. It takes you to the finish line. Hope is the antidote.
Hope is.
Hope is the antidote.
Hope is.
Hope is the antidote.
I think that a lot of people really lost a lot of hope in 2020. It was the craziness, the lockdowns, the isolation, everything just, it was a culmination of some of the worst things. It was like a bad sci-fi movie, and people had no idea where we were headed.
Yeah. I feel you. I know.
That had to have been hard too. You weren't able to perform either, were you?
Oh, no, not at all. Well, I did my last show on March 16th of 2020. Right? 2020. Yeah. And that was hard. That really was. Yeah.
How did you keep your inspiration and going? And of course, you have to keep playing to keep your chops up and all of that, playing and singing. And how did you do that? Did you just play every day, or did you kind of take a break?
Well, you know, I have this wonderful band, and what we did was I would write a song, and we would plan a rehearsal. You know, we'd all wear masks. And I could sing with a mask on. I mean, it was
amazing.
just a rehearsal.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, you know, really clear. But there was nobody there. This was just for us to rehearse.
Sure.
And so I'd say, "Hey guys, I have a song. You want to work on it?" And we got very close, and we also kept us moving. You know, hopeful that this would end and we would get back to work and whatever. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to have that. I think music is a wonderful therapy. It's a universal language.
Definitely.
It's
Yeah.
you can express so many things in music that you can't with words.
Right. That's right. And so the music is very important as well as the words, and they have to sync up. There's one of the songs in the album. The album is coming out on the 10th of September,
Mm-hmm.
and the album is called Hope as well. There's one song on the album which is it starts out kind of dark. It's called Beautiful Dreams, but it's all about climate change, COVID. The words, it starts out kind of deep.
Mm-hmm.
But then the music, it's in a minor key.
Mm-hmm.
But then the bridge breaks out into a major key.
Okay.
And it brightens up the song. And it's, again, we don't leave you there. We leave you on a happy note, on a high note with that song. But that's what music can do. It can change your whole emotional temperature.
It really can. Well, I know
Yeah.
I personally, depending on my mood, that's the kind of music that I'll choose. And sometimes if I'm really angry about something, I'll put a powerful song on and kind of
Yep.
work through that emotion,
Mm-hmm. It really does. It really helps.
Powerful winds stoke wild flames, raging floods, hurricanes, loss of life, souls in pain, all fueled by a climate in change. Though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, battered and bruised, but nevertheless you're stronger and wiser. You're a hero, a survivor. A viral pest, civil unrest, racism with violent protest, a dysfunctional house without honor or respect. It's time to stop. Time to reset. Though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, battered and bruised, but nevertheless you're stronger and wiser. You're a hero, a survivor. Imagine a place, a peaceful space to lie in pastures of green, with plenty of time for your beautiful dreams. nevertheless, stronger and wiser. You're a hero, a survivor. Oh, imagine a peaceful space to lie pastures of green, with plenty of time for your beautiful dreams. Whoa, imagine a place, a peaceful space to lie pastures of green, with plenty of time for your beautiful dreams. Imagine a place, a peaceful space to lie pastures of green, with plenty of time for your beautiful dreams. Imagine a place, peaceful space to lie pastures of green, plenty of time for your beautiful.
So, what was it like growing up as the daughter of New York jazz guitarist Al Cappi? I bet that was just a wonderful influence.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at the time, I didn't, I remember we have a tape here of a couple of weeks ago. We were listening to it. I was 4 years old, and my dad, it's a wonderful memory to have. And my dad and he was playing guitar, and I was singing Mary Had a Little Lamb and, a bunch of other songs like that. And so it started at like 3 or 4 years old. And then in high school, he always had famous musicians coming over to jam at the house. But to me, that was just normal,
Sure.
And then when I got into high school, he would sometimes take me on a gig just to observe, and then occasionally have me come up and do a song. And so that was kind of a good experience with laying a foundation.
Mm-hmm. You just became accustomed to all of this. This was just the norm for you. You said he had famous musicians. Who all would come to jam with him?
Well, of course, they were in the jazz scene,
Sure.
but I don't. Bucky Cizzarelli, Joe Pass. These guys have all passed, like my dad.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a great, amazing gentleman by the name of George Van Apt, who invented the 7-string guitar.
Very cool.
And so he made my dad's guitar for him. And they developed together the George Van Apt style of teaching. So he would come. He was a very sweet guy. I think later on moved out to California. But yeah, these kind of people, it's fun just to listen to them. They'd pull out a bottle of wine or something and just, play, jam.
Sure. Just have a jam session. Excellent.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
aspire to be a musician and singer when you were a little one, or did it just kind of happen?
Yeah, it just kind of happened being the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It just high school, I did shows, I'd get involved. And then after high school, I had a choral teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and he was young. I mean, he was this was senior in high school. He was, only like 4 years older than us or something. And he said, Louise, when you graduate, let's start doing some gigs.
Oh, very
And
cool.
yeah, so we would practice. Of course, it was illegal for me to work with a teacher, until I was old enough and all that. So when I was old enough, and we would practice, rehearse, and we started doing some gigs around Long Island, and in New York City. Yeah, it was fun. So that really was the beginning of my own personal journey without Dad.
Now, did you actually have a vocal coach too, and maybe go through college and have all of the formal training, or is it something that you just kind of developed on your own?
That's a good question, and it's funny. I did. My dad got me like this fabulous coach at the time on Long Island. Her name was Sunny Lane, and her sister was a famous singer, jazz singer. And I want to say for about a year, I would have coaching from her. But I felt she was, and my dad too, she was taking away my own natural feel. I almost felt like she was training me to be like an operatic singer. And I
Yeah.
don't know, it helped strengthen my voice and my diaphragm and all that.
Hmm.
But after a year, we cut it loose, and he said, "Do your own thing." So
Interesting.
that's what we
Well,
did.
well, the reason I
Yeah.
asked that, I've had voice lessons and so forth when I was in high school and in college, and I wanted to learn more of the jazz and R&B and various other styles, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the teachers teach the classical, which is more,
Right.
opera and that sort of thing, which you learn the techniques which you need to have, but but that's
Yeah.
not where you
Hmm.
want to go.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And I had a girlfriend in high school who had a great voice for opera, and I suppose I could have developed that, but that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that wasn't your passion.
No. Yeah. No. And then let's see. For years and years, I sang the American Songbook. A lot of Sinatra's tunes
Hmm.
and that kind of thing, and some trad jazz. Early 1920s stuff. But about 5 years ago, and then I added some R&B and other things
Hmm.
to my repertoire down here in New Orleans. Some clubs I would do just R&B and blues, some just jazz. It depends on the club. But there, at a certain point, I decided I want to write my own stuff, and there's great music out there to cover, and it's wonderful. But I have something I want to say. So that's where my last album, Melange. I had 4 originals on it, and then this album, Hope. They're all originals.
So tell us about Melange. For those who aren't familiar,
Oh,
what are the songs about?
Melange. It was a fun album. I got good reviews, really good reviews. The 4 songs that I wrote, one was called Bellanola,
Hmm.
and you can find this they can find this on YouTube and pretty much the major streaming platforms. But
Right.
this one, Bellanola, I wrote as a tribute to New Orleans, and it really, I think to me, it's the best song on that album. And then the rest of the songs, I think there's 9 songs on that album, and some of them were they were covers of other people's work. Summertime, I don't know if you're familiar with the
Oh,
Gershwin tune
oh, I love
Summertime.
this
That's
song.
on the album.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we sort of did we did it as a swing, and then at the end of the song, we jump into a medley of Moondance with that song.
Oh, neat.
And you know, uh, Van Morrison's Moondance.
Hmm.
And but the reason I love Summertime is it's the first song I ever sang in front of people. I mean, at a high school performance. I think I was a freshman, and then many years later, I was singing in a club, and this lady came up to me, and she said, George Gershwin's son is sitting in the audience,
Oh, wow.
and he'd like to talk to you at your break. So, I was like, who are these people? So I did. I went and sat down with them, and they bought me a drink, and we got to chit chat, and that was kind of like a full circle type of thing, singing that song in freshman in high school, and then singing it on a gig, and George Gershwin's son was there. That was kind of a out of body experience
Oh,
for me. It was
man.
cool.
What an honor. What did he say to you?
Oh, he said, "Will you do some more after your
Excellent.
break?" And I said, "Yeah." So absolutely. So I almost and they stayed, and it was almost like a little private party. They had a group of people with them, and so I just did as many Gershwins I could pull out of
Very
my
cool.
repertoire.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
George Gershwin. You had to have been over the moon. I mean, how
I
often does
was.
that?
It was.
Yeah.
This is like over 20 years ago,
Mhm.
but it was. Yeah, it's a nice story to tell.
It really is. And
And
for
yeah,
someone that's obviously the son of George Gershwin, he was impressed with you. I mean, that's got to be a boost that took you forward saying, I got something here.
yeah.
I was wondering, in terms of your wonderful repertoire and the vibe that you have, who were some of the musicians that you liked to listen to when you were growing up? Were there certain styles that you wanted to replicate or emulate?
When I was like 13, my brother, who was a musician, he's passed as well. He's a great piano player. He gave me an album, vinyl, and he said it was a Billie Holiday album. And he did this quite often for me. He'd say, "I want you to listen to this gal." So I got into Billie Holiday. This is like middle school, and I was listening to her over and over and over again. Then years later, he gave me albums of different people, female vocalists, because he tried to help to guide me, I think, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gave me Ella Fitzgerald album. He
Oh,
gave me uh, Carmen McRae. A lot of these great artists, and that kind of started to help me along to not to copy them, but to develop. I did copy them for a while, but then you find your voice.
sure.
But I also was a teenager, and I was into a lot of the R&B at the time. We're talking 70s, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very much into a lot of the R&B that was happening at the time, and a lot of those. I love Carole King. I
Oh,
love her
Carole King. Oh
song.
my gosh, yes.
Yeah, Carol, and I loved Roberta Flack. A lot of the great artists. And today, I love Alicia Keys,
Uh-huh.
and there's some I like John Legend. People who write good music today. I feel like uh, there's a lot of non-musical music out there,
Yeah.
and I feel like the young people are not being exposed to good music. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll lose some people by saying that, but that's I feel that that's true.
Do you feel
You
like
feel,
a lot of the music sounds the same? I know that I feel like that. It's like,
yeah, that's because it does. I mean, yeah, it does. They don't even use instruments, which is very interesting to me. And look, I'm open to all kinds of genres of music. I really am. If it's good, I find value in it. But the words, they don't inspire me. And they don't help me to think more. Or and I think the kids today, they just put their video games on or their whatever, and they just go on automatic.
Yeah.
There's no, thinking, right? There's no imagination, not much of it. I won't say no, but my band,
Uh-huh.
they're wonderful young men. They're very young. And it's crazy. They're 30 and under.
Okay.
And they all have their degrees. My guitar player, Mike Clement, he has his master's in jazz guitar. And they're all educated BAs in music, and they're all under 30. So there are young people out there that appreciate good music. But the masses, they're just getting ripped off, I feel.
Yeah, I felt this
They
way
don't hear
too.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Mhm.
it's almost like the labels are just going for a certain sound, and they're not allowing any kind of flexibility with the artist. And that's what gives birth to new styles and new music. And I think that's where we're lacking.
Yeah. And for years, country's not, well, I like all genres of music, but it was never my format. But I feel like they're the last frontier, the last, they have melody and harmony, their songs. And, they play instruments, most of them, yeah. So, it's kudos to that genre.
What I wanted to ask, you said that your band are younger, 30 and under. Who were their influences? Did their music influences growing up kind of change their perspective on how they approach music, you think?
Well, we've had this discussion, not in too much depth, but so Michael, the guitar player, who is just phenomenal. This young man is going to go places, let me tell you. But when we were in the studio recording, which is kind of funny, the producer that I worked with, Paul Longstreth, which, by the way, is my son-in-law, and he's amazing, just an amazing producer and musician. But we would listen to Mike play, all of the guys, but Mike, and we would just be like, our jaw would drop. And me being, I'm partial to guitar players because of my dad. But his influence, I mean, of course, it was jazz. Mm-hmm. And he grew up in Canada. And, so he listened to all the jazz greats and more of the contemporary, like Pat Metheny and...
Right.
And then the old. So I think that and I think it came from his dad. He told me once.
Well, certainly you had a wonderful example growing up and being exposed to music all the time. That had to have been just awesome.
It was. My husband, we talk about this, like Christmas time at my house. We'd all eat, had big Italian family, cousins. I mean, I had no friends until outside of my cousins until I was like, 15 or something. I just hung out with my cousins. So, but we would have these big Italian meals at my parents', and then we had a piano at the house, and my dad would pull out his guitar, and we'd pass the microphone around to everybody, and it was fun, and we always did stuff like that.
And what a great way to get over stage fright and that sort of thing. You just get used to singing and playing in front of other people in a comfortable, safe environment, so that when you actually get in front of the public, it's not foreign to you.
Right. Yeah, you're right about that. Although I did have a little bit of that stage fright when I was young. The more you do it, the more confident you become. Preparation is the greatest form. When you're prepared, it helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The work happens before you get on stage. My dad used to tell me.
Oh, that's true.
When you get on stage, you have to be ready. All that work is behind you, and now you're just doing it. That's the fun time. Should be anyway.
Practice isn't always the most fun.
No, practice. And that's some. You know what? And interesting enough, that's getting back to the music, the pop music of today. They push buttons.
So for people who want to maybe learn to sing like you do, because you've got, oh my gosh, a great sound. You've got a wonderful set of pipes in terms of singing. Oh gosh, I love it. I love your timbre, everything. What do you recommend for somebody who wants to learn how to sing the type of music you sing?
Well, listening. Just listen. That's how I started. I was 13. Just listen to records or, artists that you like. But listen to good music, with melody and harmony, and develop an ear. See, that's what happened with my dad. I mean, from listening since I was a baby, I just developed a really good ear. And that cannot be taught. You have to, like I said, just keep listening and then just start singing. I mean, listen and then duplicate in the beginning. It's okay to duplicate. And then eventually you find your own voice. Yeah, that's how I did it. If you don't, I had the natural pipes. I just had that. I have big mouth, like everybody in my family.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right. And so I had a lot of power, but that's just me. But I did develop a good diaphragm and learned how to breathe well, right. And then, but I say, listen and copy when you're starting out. Doesn't hurt to get some music theory. I play piano, but I would never accompany myself. I'm not good enough. I leave that to the guys who have master's degrees in jazz guitar. So I will write a song with my little bit of theory. And that's another thing. It doesn't hurt to get a little. I just remember this, reading an article, Prince. He told Beyonce years ago, he did a concert with her. And he told her in rehearsals that she should learn the language of music. Whether she took that advice, I don't know. But
well, she certainly went on to be a huge hit. So
she did. So I don't know if she went and studied. I think what he was saying is study a little music. And maybe she did. Listen, if Prince told me to do that,
oh yeah,
I would do it. Yeah.
He had a style all of his own, and he did his thing. And I think you have to admire that, because he really stood out.
He was very musical. He played all instruments. He, I liked his stuff. It worked for him. And yeah.
Well, I've heard stories that the principal would kind of cringe sometimes when he'd get up in high school and play, because they never knew what Prince was going to be doing. They were a little nervous about it.
Yeah, right. Yep. That's he stood out. He found his niche, and he did it. But he did it with good music. He did it playing great guitar.
Oh yeah.
And so he was pretty talented. And I think it's great that he encouraged other young artists where he was around to learn something about music, even just a little theory, whatever,
Music theory was never my favorite, but it is something that you definitely need to know. And especially if you're doing blues and jazz and all of that, it's important, because it's really complicated.
Yeah, well, it is it can be. My dad, he taught me some theory, and it really helped. Sometimes I have to go back to my notes and everything to refresh my memory, especially if I'm trying to do key changes and things. So after a while, I write all my songs in C.
Okay.
Key of C. No sharps or flats, and then I hand that to Mike, the guitar player, and said, let's see if a better key is, better for this song in my voice. But, who was it? I think it was one of the artists, the writer of Blue Skies, long gone now, but he used to write in the key of F. I could write, I think he played just the black keys, actually. I'm not sure, but anyway, they're out there. Anyway, it works for me. I know a few of my friends that write, and they do the same thing, and then we hand it over if we want to change, to do a key change. My dad could do a key change for the song. I mean, he was just amazing.
That is a real talent to be able to do that. I remember when I was taking piano lessons, there was actually, my piano teacher actually sat back and let me do it. I didn't realize that I was playing something, and I was playing it by memory. And without thinking about it, I actually put it in another key. And I was doing it successfully until probably a couple pages into it. It's like, and I stopped. And she said, "You just transposed that entire song. Did you know that?"
Wow.
And if I had thought about it, I wouldn't have been able to do it probably, you know?
See, that's what happens. That's, we have a lot of music. My niece is a music teacher in New York. And, when she started out at 3, they just did ear training. And, before they started teaching any theory or any of that. And that's important too, to be able to hear that, just naturally, like what you said, you just didn't even know you were doing it, really.
Yeah, and I don't know why I did it that way. I guess I started on the wrong place on the keyboard or something. And
but then she pointed it out, and said, "This is what you did." But you know what? Are you a singer as well?
Yes.
You said you like to sing. That's great. Mm-hmm. Good.
I love your technique. It's absolutely awesome. And it is to do what you do. It is different than somebody who's classically trained. Obviously you're still using breath control and all of that, but it's a different placement of the voice, and you really have it down. Mm-hmm. People can really, really hear the emotion that you put into the song, and you just get into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to get your message out, you have to, you don't want to be monotone, or even when people are, it has to, and I think I developed that technique just, like I said, listening to a lot of different, look at Frank Sinatra. His phrasing, it was so great. And you really got the point with him. There was somebody else. Oh, Patsy Cline.
Oh, yeah.
I learned talk about emotion in a song. She would just cry.
She really was. Yeah.
Right? And I used to listen to her. Like I said, she started out as she was a country singer, but she crossed over. But I would listen to her. I loved her voice. And just listen to, I do a couple of Patsy Cline songs. I had them in my repertoire. But she knew how to sell a tune.
Yep. So speaking of tunes on your new album, what are the songs for everybody so that they can check that out?
Yeah, because I think it's available to check it out now. They can pre-order it. The album's called Hope. The songs are, the single that we dropped a few weeks back is Hope. Then there's some funny songs in there. There's a song called, it's just a real light-hearted tune, which is what I wanted. I felt people needed. And it's called Happy Place. And it's just a kind of a upbeat, bluesy, funny little song. And it's great. It's about finding your happy place. What is it that turns you on? What makes you laugh?
I was driving down the highway with my baby right beside me. I had the rooftop down, my hair was blowing all around. I had a smile on my face, I was in a happy place. I was walking on the beach with my little dog Pete, sand between my toes, the smell of sea air in my nose. Don't put it off any longer. Your days on earth are getting shorter.
Then there's a song called Keep That Dream Alive. It's kind of a power hitting.
I like that song.
Pretty strong, powerful. That's a good one. That was because I saw people losing their businesses and their livelihoods and my musician friends, you know. And so I wanted to inspire them to just keep believing, you know, keep dreaming.
I know you're hurt and in pain, scared to get up and try again. You had a hard loss, but it's time to put down that cross. You had a hard loss, but it's time to put down that cross. Wipe off those tears and face down your fears. You can make a new start, 'cause you're strong and so smart. Yes, you're strong and so said I won't quit until I'm dead. Well, I see you're still breathing, so keep on moving. I'm moving ahead. Keep on breathing and moving ahead. Yeah, keep that dream alive.
Gotta keep it alive.
Don't be afraid to try.
Gotta keep it alive.
Like an eagle to the sky.
Gotta keep it
Oh,
alive.
you can fly. Yeah, like an eagle to the sky. Oh, keep that dream alive.
Gotta keep it alive.
Don't be afraid to try.
Gotta keep it
You
alive.
can fly like an eagle to the sky.
Gotta keep it alive.
You can fly like an eagle to the sky.
So I wanted to write some tunes to keep people happy too. So I wrote a jazz tune called DQ Guy, Dairy Queen, and it's hilarious. And it's really cute. And if I say so, I just had so much fun writing that one. Only You is another song. It's sort of our, me and the band's tribute to Steely Dan. It's a little bit of a ripoff from Steely Dan, but
Steely Dan, great stuff. Oh my!
yeah, it's got kind of like that feel.
Where can people find the music so that they can download the whole album? That'd be great.
Yeah. Absolutely. On all the major streaming sites, Amazon, Spotify. The song Hope, by the way, is topping a lot of charts. I was, Hope was top 100 of the Euro indie charts. I was 81. South Africa, they love me in South Africa. I was number one. Hope was number one a few weeks back. Yeah, I don't know if it's dropped down, but it was up there for a while. And, but they can get the album, like I said, on all the streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. And I appreciate it if you download it.
You're not doing this for free. We need to support wonderful artists like you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, and you have a website, louisecappymusic.com, and that's spelled CAPPI. So it would be louisecappymusic.com. So people could go there and they can see where they can find your music and learn more about you and your great sound. Yeah. I think that the messages you have in your music, what you evoke, the emotion, it's fantastic. And hope is definitely something that it's what's needed right now.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
You've been listening to an interview with Louise Cappi, wonderful blues and jazz artist, singer. Be sure to check out her album, Hope. This is TNCRadio.Live. I'm Shelley Johnson. Thanks for listening. All of the material you hear on TNCRadio.Live, on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of TNCRadio.Live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live.